Unless you've been living under a rock, every teacher everywhere is always being pushed to do more higher order thinking. And I want to connect immediately that with multiple choice tests. I despise them, I always have. It's just guessing. I'd much rather have a fill in the blank where the child really needs to figure out the answer. But I went to a training that I actually liked, and it was explaining wrong answers. So you would not do this on a 20-question multiple choice test. You would just do this on a couple of questions, and they would not just guess the right answer or pick the right answer. They would then explain in writing why each of the other answers was wrong. Yes, you might need to differentiate it and let some kids that struggle with writing do it in point form or explain to you verbally. So let's talk about higher order thinking. On the original Bloom's taxonomy, this is evaluate, which is the highest level. And on the revised Bloom's, this is still evaluating, which is now the second highest level because they're not creating. And if we want to think about the DOK levels, depending on how argumentative your instructional coach or administration is, most would call it DOK for extended thinking because they are proving, they're critiquing, and they're analyzing. You might have somebody that says it's just DOK 3 because they're just comparing the right answer to the wrong answer and they're making a conclusion. Either way, it's much higher than the DOK 1 of a multiple choice test. So I want to show you an example of how I have used it in my classroom in the past. And we see here a simple explaining wrong answers, directions to the students of what's going to happen. And then a very simple question. In common time, how many beats are in each measure? So to answer the question at recall level, they have to know that common time is 4/4, so the answer is D4. But in order to explain why it's not the other ones, they have to have knowledge of time signature, and they have to be able to quantify what the top and bottom numbers mean and explain why it's wrong. Another example, I did throw in a funny option with a choice B, but what does the dynamic piano mean? If they talk about it being actually a piano, we know it's wrong because they didn't decode what the word dynamic meant. And if they choose B, they are very confused. But it just lets them think at a deeper level. So I encourage you to try things like this when you are working with your students to increase their critical thinking skills. As always, if you find any of my videos valuable, please like and subscribe.